Hey, a good release is critical to hitting the ball long and straight consistently. But there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. So right after this, let's talk about some of the facets of a proper release and how you can start developing one. Stay tuned. Hey, this is Steve with HitItLonger.com. I continue my journey to hit the ball longer and straighter than ever before. I hope to show you how to do it too. So you may have seen my videos detailing the wrap the pole drill, but this is only one facet, one important facet of developing a proper release. Of course, you've got to be able to throw the club around the wrists 180 degrees without attempting to advance the left arm by itself. In other words, pull with it. So this drill looks something like this. I'm lining my elbow up with a tree or a pole and never allowing my elbow, but throwing the club head around the noodle or the pole here without ever letting my arm or elbow touch. So I have to throw it pretty free without pulling. So throwing instead of pulling. Also notice that as I go through the impact zone, the flap of the club, watch just this mini part of it right here. See, I'm doing this, and I'm making the club go through with the flapping motion. That's what a lot of people are not catching when they watch me do this video, is that I'm doing this in the middle. It's kind of a mini, and that's making the club head track square to the arc, something like this to here. So, of course, the elbows have to fold at the extreme ends of this motion, so you get the look of what looks like a flip. Also because you're not adding the body and you're not swinging this on the correct plane, you're swinging it on a horizontal. But it would look like this in order to hit the ball dead straight every time. All right, so we've defined the ideal forearm, wrist, and elbow action that we would like to take. But then there's a when. There is a timing to this. And again, you're gonna see things out of context because I'm isolating just to wrists, elbows, forearms. But we're trying to do this back here. So that same motion now would look like this. Just like that. Now notice that that club face is not flipping over at all. It's again tracking square to the arc. I'm not flipping the toe over. It's nothing to time here because the club is going to end up going square to the arc. But amazingly, this is what everybody on TV is actually doing. In fact, they're doing it even further back here. Again, of course they don't look like that because I'm taking this out of context. I'm taking this and I'm eliminating the shifting and the turn, the trunk, the hips, the legs. I'm eliminating those out of the swing for a minute and just showing you this is when the muscle activity occurs, is back here. Now once you add in the hips and the torso, the most force that you're uncocking the wrists with occurs somewhere around here, and then it starts to go to zero very quickly as the club starts to get out thrown. Your hands can't keep up with the force anymore, like pedaling a bicycle downhill. But that throw is going to start back here, boom, just like that. That's the only way that you'll be able to catch up on time, square it up once you add in the shift and turn. So you have an action, ideal action, then you have a timing. Let's look at one more. So one more very important detail that we've got to get if we're going to make a proper release. And of course there's different styles of release. The one that I'm showing you here is the one that I think is going to work the best in the long run, get you the most consistent distance and direction. So the last thing we've got to do is we got to make sure that this end of the stick is arcing this way around you. So you are applying this uncocking force that we talked about in step one, is this snapping just like that. You're adding that along the shaft, but the shaft is not going to respond like you want it to and get this thing squared up unless you've also put this end of the stick on a good track. Otherwise, you're not going to get the response, and you're going to have to change the forces that you apply to the grip in order to overcome the error that's being made here. Usually that's in the form of rolling the shaft, but other people will go back and they'll break the first rule and they will pull it too. A lot of bad things can happen at this end of the stick. So let's take a look at what we want this one to do. So let's just say you're here and you're in really good shape coming into the slot. From here, we've got to make sure that that curve starts happening. That handle breaks in, ends up about a handspan from the pocket. If you get it out like this and it continues to drive out towards the ball, you can push forces into that shaft all you want, but you're fighting a losing battle. You won't get the response. The response is to get the club head to come around and catch up with the left arms where the club face gets square without having to twist the shaft. But that can only happen if the handle is cooperating. So here, 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 and here. So we've got to get that thing curving around the body this way, not vertical. Vertical would be no good to you. You're not going to get the correct response out of this action that I showed you earlier. You'll have to use some kind of different action or a different release profile in order to hit the ball straight, but you won't get the kind of power. And the same thing with this. That's going to be no good either. We're going to have to change the release pattern. So it's here, here. Just like that. Key move right there, and right around here. Just like that. So put all three of them together and you're going to get some nice long straight shots consistently every day, because not only is the club face now going to track like we want it to, so mild around the arc, coming from the inside with the driver bottoming out just behind on the inside still, catching it on the way up where the path squares up and returning around the corner to the left, hopefully without the toe looking like it's doing that. So that would be the ideal shape swing, but we've got to swing this end of the stick too. See if I can put them all together. Show you all three. That would be swat, square to square. Make sure that I'm timing it early enough to get the response to catch up, and make sure I'm getting this handle to come on around like this. So let's check it out. All right, we got a really straight ball there, and we're out close to 300 yards. So mission accomplished. Plenty of distance, not a ton of effort. Ball's flying really straight. Hopefully it'll be doing that often without too big of a dispersion pattern left or right, but we got lots of power and accuracy because we're releasing it free, releasing it square to square, releasing it early enough, and releasing it around a good hand pass so that we don't have to change the forces that we're putting into the grip to match the error that we're making with the handle. So cover those facets with your swing. You want to check to make sure you're doing all those three, and I think you're going to hit it longer and straighter too. Hey, if you have any questions about any of these techniques, please leave a comment down below. I try to look at all of them. Also, like and subscribe if you got something out of the video, and share it with another golfer who may need help. I'm Steve. Thanks so much for supporting my channel all these years, and if I don't see you in the next video, I will see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Everybody take good care.